College Football 26 just dropped, and I wanted to give you guys an unbelievable offensive mini scheme that you can use to rack up points and stack wins on day one of the new game. This whole scheme is built around using motion and confusion to mess with defenses and create opportunities for big plays down the field. Each play we're going to break down is going to have a base look and then a counter off of it, where we bait the defense into overreacting. We get the user to fly downhill to stop one thing, which opens up the next play and makes them pay for being over aggressive. We're going to be using the Alabama playbook. So if you're playing regs, pick Alabama to run this scheme. If you're on Ultimate Team, make sure you grab the Alabama playbook. And then the two formations we're going to be looking at are gun wing slot offset and gun tight open. Now the first two play sequence we're going to be breaking down uses the new double shift feature they just added to College Football 26. That's where multiple players can motion across the formation, and once they're set, we can still run another motion on top of it. This creates a ton of eye candy on the field, helping pull the user out of position and puts defenses in a ton of tough spots. So the first play we're going to look at is shift jet touch pass at a gun wing slot offset. This play utilizes the double shift feature first with our two tight ends, then with our slot coming after. And this is a great way to get one of our best athletes on the perimeter where they can make a ton of plays on the edge. All right, so with this shift jet touch pass, we're going to always run this to the wide side of the field. So we're going to have our tight ends starting on the short side. We're going to snap the ball. That's going to motion them over. Then we're going to have our slot receiver come over after. You're going to hike the ball. Now you're going to have both your tight ends out in front. Jet touch pass with your running back as the lead blocker. We're able to get to the edge. We have Ryan Williams, one of the best players in the game, as our slot receiver here. We're able to turn the corner, go in for the score. So I definitely want to play, if you're going to use Alabama in regs, or if you're playing cut, put your best weapon, your best wide receiver, or your fastest weapon at this slot receiver role for this jet touch pass. Get it into his hands, use this running back lead block, and then once you're in the open, make guys miss, use your athleticism. Next up, we have shift fake jet HB seam and wing slot offset. This play starts with that same double shift with our two tight ends coming over. Then we go into our jet motion, and then we're going to have a play action fake, and the goal is to pull the user down out of position. From there, we're going to have multiple vertical options we can hit in behind him. Okay, so off the jet touch pass, we want our counter, and this pass play is very good because first it starts with that double tight end motion, that just like our jet touch pass. Then we're going to have our jet motion. So the whole goal here is we want the user to be worried about that jet touch pass, so they fire down like this guy does here. He fires down into the box to stop the run. Then it's going to be a play action fake, and we're going to have our wheel coming up the sideline right here. So we basically have two main reads here. This tight end here is going to pull back the deep blue defenders. Then we're going to have the wheel up the sideline. If the flat defender bites down, throw this running back wheel right up in behind the flat defender in front of that deep blue defender. Here it's going to be again, so double tight end motion, bring our receiver over, fake jet touch pass. Tight end here is going to run off the deep blue defender. Flat defender bites down. We can throw in our running back wheel right in front of that deep blue defender right there. So that is exactly how we want to use that. Then off of that, we have two other options. So if we run our jet touch pass, the guy fires down to take that away, right here, the user, but the flat defender is playing back over top of the wheel route. Then we're going to have our tight end on a spot route sitting down in the zone. So we're going to have the one tight end running everyone off, other tight end sitting down as in the zone, and that is going to be our second read, and we can drop it into him. Now our third read is after we run the fake. If we look at the running back wheel and that is taken away, and we look at the spot route and we don't like the look of that, then we want to check it down into the flat to our jet touch pass player. Here the flat defender is way back, so we can just drop it into this guy's hands, let him make a play in the open field. 1st and 10, make these guys miss, we pick up 15 yards. The next sequence of plays utilize an orbit motion. This is where a player starts on one side of the field, then loops in behind the QB and shoots out to the other side of the formation. formation. From there, they can be used on swing passes or vertical routes, getting up the field and creating big play potential behind the defense. So the first play we're looking at is orbit mesh rail, and this is going to be our wheel setup in gun tight open. Now this play is going to be built around this orbit motion coming in behind our QB, and this is going to allow us to hit this for deep shots way down the field, but also gives us some really good options underneath as well. So to set this up, come out with our grips and our orbit starting to the wide side of the field, then take the outside receiver on the wide side and put him on a streak, then take the inside receiver on the short side and put him on a post route. Okay, so with this orbit variation, our first read here is always going to be our orbit player. So we have this streak on the field on this side, and the goal here is we want him to run off the deep blue defender. Then as soon as our orbit wheel gets in behind the flat defender, we can drop this ball in right over this flat defender's head. So anytime you're running against a zone coverage and you see this look where the deep blue gets run off, flat defender settles, you can drop it right in along the sideline. 3rd and 9, we get 1st and goal inside like the 6-yard line right there with an absolutely beautiful pass. That's always going to be our first option. But if at the snap, we bring over this orbit player and we see everybody backing way off, we see everybody getting deep here, we can also just quick throw this orbit before he even gets to the flat defender. 3rd and 1 here, so we can also just get the ball out of our hands really quick, get it to the orbit player, drop that right in front of his zone coverage. 3rd and 1, pick up the easy 1st down. So that we can look at that orbit either deep down the field, or if the flat's playing off, drop it in over his head. Now our other option is we want to look to that orbit, but if the orbit is taken away, we can also look to the middle of the field. And what we're going to have 2 drags. So we're going to have 1 drag here, 1 drag here. Then we're going to have a post deep right here. So if the orbit's taken away, we want to look inside to our post right here, and we see the user right here is jumping down on the drag, so we can throw that post right in over his head. So 2 great vertical options on this passing play. And then if the vertical options are taken away, with the wheel taken away here, we see the user playing in the middle of the field on our post. Now we have multiple drags. So we have a drag coming this way, drag coming to this side, can go to whichever one is more open. I go to this one here, drop it into him, make a guy miss, 1st and 10, and we pick up 8-9 yards. And then the next play we're looking at is another setup for orbit mesh rail, and this is going to be our mesh setup. Now this play is going to use that same orbit motion across the field, but this time we're using him to pull the user out of the middle. Then we're running a mesh concept overloading the middle of the field, and this makes this entire play really tough to stop. To set this play up, come out with our orbit to the wide side, then take the inside receiver on the wide side and put him on a post, and that is the whole setup. All right, so for our other variation of our orbit mesh play, the big difference with this one is instead of having the streak on the field, we're going to keep this player on his spot route. So the goal here is once we kind of attack down the field with our first orbit variation, now we're using this orbit as more of a decoy. We can still go to it if there's a quick throw in the flats like we did with the other variation. So if we see at the snap, the flats are dropping way back, we can quick throw this wheel right away, drop that in, get it up the field, and basically force them to play tighter to the flats. But if we don't want to go to that, now we're basically using this player as a decoy. We're trying to pull the user out of the middle of the field to run with that orbit. And then we have a drag, a spot route, and a post route attacking the middle. So we have 4 routes flooding the middle of the field, and we're just making it almost impossible for them to take it all away. So we have our spot route, drag. If they're sitting back on the spot, sitting back underneath the wheel, just throw that drag right there. So you can go to either one of those drags whenever you want. Then we also have our spot route. So we can look to our drags. If right here, the drags come across the field and pull all the linebackers down, then we have the spot route just sitting in behind them, and we can just go to the spot route. So if they stay on the drags, go to the spot route. If they stay on the spot route, go to the drags. Here he's just sitting down, drop it into him, 2nd and 5, pick up like 15 yards. Then the last option here is if they're playing more shallow on the drags and the spot route, like here, they're running with the drag, kind of sitting on that spot route. We have the post breaking deep over the middle of the field, and now we can fire it in there. So 4 really good options attacking the middle of the field, and we still have that wheel that we can quick throw as well. Then if you want to take this offense to the next level, you need to check out my website, Scheme Kings. Up right now, you'll find part 2 of this video where I give you guys 7 more plays for this BAMA offense. These plays will give you even more ways to attack defenses using the same motion and creativity that you're going to find here, providing an incredible scheme to start with in college football 26, and it's going to let you rack up a ton of points and wins. Then for what we have coming up on the site, in the next 2 to 3 days, you'll get my first defensive mini scheme. This will have a ton of unique blitzes and pressure packages that will give you a great head start on defense. Then starting next week, we'll begin releasing our full schemes. On offense, we'll kick it off by running some of the best offenses in the game, like Arch Manning's at Texas and Ohio State with Jeremiah Smith, and I'll show you how to play like these teams do in real life. On defense, we're planning on breaking down Kirby Smart back-to-back natty defense at Georgia and showing you how you can play like the Dogs' real-life defense in college football 20. So by subscribing to the site, you'll also get access to all of my college football and Madden 25 content. Then when Madden 26 drops, you'll receive all of that content plus the college football 26 stuff, all for one price. So for the site, you can purchase the yearly membership, which will save you $50 over the course of the year. Then I'm also going to be running my college football 26 sale on the site, and this is going to run till August 1st. Use code CFB26 to get 50% off your first month if you do the monthly membership. So if you want to check out the site, I will leave a link for it down below. Then every offense needs a killer run game, then play action built off of it. And this is going to be out of our wing slot formation, where we have an incredible 2-play sequence that will let us bully our opponents with the run game. And then once they start to overplay to stop it, then we can hit big shots in behind them down the field with our play action. So first up, we have our Power O in wing slot. This is a base Power O concept with a pulling guard leading us through the hole. Okay, HB Power O. Classic run play. This is a power run, so we're going to have our guard as the lead blocker. The other great thing with this run play is because it's a power to the same side as the running back, we're also going to have our 2 tight ends on this side of the field. So we're bringing over a guard plus our 2 tight ends. We are really outnumbering them at the point of the attack. That is the whole goal. We're going to have a double team here with our guard leading up through the hole, and look at how massive it is. Nobody there. Get upfield, put our foot in the ground, make a guy miss, and we just turn that into like a 25-yard gain. You can also run this on the goal line. 4th and goal, same thing. We're going to have our 2 tight ends. We're going to get double team here. Tight end getting to the second level. Follow that guard right through the hole. Get skinny. Put our pads down. Fall into the end zone for the touchdown with our Power O. Then next up, we have PA read in wing slot, and this is going to be used off our Power O run. This looks nearly identical pre-snap with a hard play action fake, but now we're going to have multiple vertical options getting downfield that we can hit for huge gains. To set this up, come out with our 2 tight ends to the short side of the field, then take your tight end and put him on a streak route, and that is the whole setup. Okay, so now we have our PA read, and this is going to work great off our play action Power O. Got to suck the user down into the box like we get here. Then the really amazing route on this play is going to be our tight end corner route. It's a really unique corner route that gets very deep down the field in behind the flat defender. Other tight end is going to run off the deep blue, and you can just drop this in against most zone coverages right over the flat defender's head. Drop that in 1st and goal down to the 1-yard line. Now, if that corner route isn't there, we have 2 really nice options attack in the middle of the field. So we have our deep corner route. He's going to break towards the sideline. This is man coverage, and he's taken away. So now we have a slant, or kind of a shallow cross, and a deeper post. Shallow cross taken away. Deeper post is open. Safety can't come downhill. Fire that in for the big gain. Then we have our shallower post as well. So right here, corner route taken away. We can go to the deeper post, but the user's there, so we have the shallower post underneath that we can go to as well. Both these are work really good against both man and zone, so you can go to them versus either. Here, man again, corner route not there. Deeper post kind of taken away, so we can go to the shallower drag, shallow cross underneath 2nd and 7, and we pick up the first down. Now, with just what you have here for this BAMA offense, you'll be in a great spot. But remember, there's part 2 of this offense up right now on Scheme Kings that makes this whole game plan way more difficult to stop. Then you can also check out my first college football 26 defensive video when it drops right here.